Howdy, folks. Welcome to the Picklebear podcast. We are back in town. I'm Goose Gadsden, Appalachia's okayest musician and enemy of the state, joined as always by Brooke and River.
Hello.
Yo, what's up?
How many months has it been?
I have no idea. When was our last upload?
I think like August, maybe.
I
It's been a while.
Where'd my phone go?
How'd you lose your phone already?
Oh, shit. Okay, I found it.
It's up your ass on the left.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
Let's find out. I'm going to look it up. You guys keep the conversation going. For God's sakes, you had
River-
one job.
River, okay, so I come here to record a podcast, and what do? You say, no, we're going to wax my truck.
Yeah, I needed waxed. Okay, so I'm going to college, and I'm just like, it's up in the hills, and it's really cold. And I'm like, damn, it's going to be so, like...
So you need an off-roading truck to get to college.
No, I just want it waxed because I'm afraid it's going to rust. It's going to rust a ton.
Side note, if you look up Picklebear Podcast on YouTube, it directs you to Joe Rogan. I
We're
don't
just
know
that
why.
good.
You have to spell it directly. Like, exact.
if you look
7
up-
months ago. It's been 7
Yeah.
months. This is awful. As a matter of fact, our last episode,
Our last episode featured a relationship that is no longer...
I don't want to say that this is the second relationship we're responsible for destroying, but it very well might be the second relationship we're responsible for destroying.
It might be. I kind of terrorized her that whole episode and beforehand,
Yes.
because they got to my house like 2 hours before the rest of you. I don't even know why you were late. You were just late as always.
You didn't show her Red Dawn, did you?
No, I showed her some internet forums that I don't think I should mention.
Based. Okay, so
Wait, what was the first one you were responsible for?
that was the D&D story. We already
Yeah.
we already
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about it. Yeah, so River shows up dressed as a turtle.
We
to
already
this-
talked about it.
this
We talked about it
chick's-
on that episode.
on that episode. Yeah, we did, but it's such a good
It
story.
was foreshadowing.
He dressed up as an actual turtle, and the dungeon master lady was angry at him for it. I'm like, come on, that's dedication there.
But he didn't even get the character.
No, the character, the girl that was supposed to print out character sheets didn't even print his, so he just sat there sad because he was already tired.
Me?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was a turtle.
he was supposed to be a turtle, but okay.
To start off with, I want to talk about the thing that it was an epiphany I had earlier today. So, of course, I'm religious. I go to church like a good Christian man. And I was loading up the cross for my church for Easter. And I was putting it into the F-150 and I was like, holy shit. It was sent from God, really, this idea, for a Ford commercial where Jesus is about to be crucified by the Romans. And he loads up the crucifix in an F-150, and then it cuts to all like the scenic shots and like the MSRP and all that.
Okay, but here's the only problem I see with that. What's the saying that shows up? Because you can't just put built Ford tough.
Build Jesus.
Built Jesus tough?
That's
No.
horrible.
I don't know. I think built Ford tough would,
If there
would
was
stand.
a truck that could walk on water, it'd be this one.
Restored.
You could
on
have
the-
it driving across water. There you go.
have
Ford-
Jesus drive it
Yeah.
across water.
Yeah, Jesus is driving it. Ford, you can send me a check in the mail.
I still like my Gandhi idea better. So Gandhi's there in his bed, and the British are like, you know what? We give in. Your hunger strike has worked. We will give in to your demands. And he sits up and goes, thank God, I've been so hungry. And he walks down and jumps into his brand new 2023 Ford Mustang and drives off.
It's probably the electric model.
Wait, Gandhi would be the
Yeah.
new, like, what is it, the Mach E?
Yeah, he's in
He'd
the
get
Mach-E.
jump in a Mach E, starts taking off
0 to 60.
through the town.
Yeah, well,
You know,
like,
everybody's cheering because India's free. And then all of a sudden he pulls up to like a stand and he reaches out and grabs like it's something Indian people would eat.
chicken curry.
He grabs like a burrito filled with chicken curry and just slaps it in his mouth. It goes all through the interior of the Mach-E, but then they wipe it off and show it how good the interior is. I guess I don't know.
They show off the leather seats, how easy they are to wipe off.
Oh my god! Or like, remember that Dodge commercial from years ago with the George Washington?
Yeah, it was a classic.
Oh my god! Yeah.
That's what I had in mind with the Jesus thing.
Gandhi's like, it is so hot in here, and he turns on the cooling air
It's so
conditioning.
hot in the subcontinent.
he sits up and he's like, "I need to get something to eat now."
Why is he German?
Sound like German.
I don't know.
I need
Listen.
to. I need to
I
eat.
don't-
I need to eat, you people.
I don't know.
I need to eat for India.
I'm trying-
India needs me
On
to
behalf
eat.
of India.
I'm going to eat on behalf of India. Okay, so that's a great idea. I think that's perfect. So
Now that the commercials are out of the way,
yeah,
the
now-
paid advertisements. River?
Do you have any information you want to talk about? Perhaps a paranormal situation.
Perhaps an
Noah's
experience.
not here though.
I don't care where he is.
He could add on at a later date.
Ah.
You got to strike while the iron's hot. Okay? You don't wait until like 20 minutes after your wife is done yelling at you. You hit her in the moment.
Picklebear story time. Let's go.
You don't say story time after you say a domestic violence joke.
Okay, so I had an FBLA practice at my house, and afterwards I was dropping my friends off. Now we have like a 2-seater truck with like a very small back in it. Like I wouldn't even. It's an extended cab, but it's so small you can barely fit one person back there.
You could barely fit your leftover food in there.
You could. I can. So we fit 4 people in there. Everybody's knees are in each other. It's bad. I'm driving. I pull up to my friend's house, and all of a sudden, all the windows just fog up, insane. Which I'm like, oh well, it's a truck full of like 4 men. It's definitely hot in here. So I just turn on the air conditioner.
Hold up.
Testosterone.
Hold up.
What?
You just said it's a truck full of 4 men. It's hot in here. It's gonna fog up.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
So I put my front windows down because it's so foggy. I can't see, and I'm just like, I turn on the defogger. I'm like, damn, it's foggy. And I keep pulling up, and all of a sudden, I stop right in front of his door. He starts getting out of the passenger seat of the truck, okay? And I see somebody walking in front of his door, so I'm like, oh, okay, there's somebody over there. So I'm watching him unpack his stuff from the truck, and I see this
Microphone.
person walking in the corner of my eye. I look over.
Put it close to your mouth, River.
I look over right as the guy is walking behind a bush. Like, I look over, and I see him really good, and he goes behind a bush. And I'm like, I wonder who that was, because I know his dad. His dad doesn't look like that. Must be his mom, because I don't know his mom. And then it's not his sister, because his sister's short. This guy was definitely, or this woman maybe, was definitely a good 7 foot tall. And I didn't know, his mom looked very masculine from what I was thinking.
So the 7 foot tall, pitch black entity comes out from the bushes, and I go, "Oh, it must be his mom."
Oh, it was really, there was a light there too, but it was like wearing all black. It was just like all black. That's what it looked like. I was like, that's funky. But I was like, I'm thinking it was someone. So he gets out. I start pulling forward a little bit, and all of a sudden, the kid in the back seat, he's like, bro, it's so foggy in here. I'm gonna draw a wiener on your window. So he starts drawing a wiener on my side window, and all of a sudden he goes, wait, what's that? And he wipes off the window, and
Wipes the
there's
wiener
a. I look, and he starts freaking out in the back seat. So I look around, and there's just this like the person's like walking right up to my window now, like into my truck, right into the trunk, and I'm like, oh, that's a weird looking person, because I can't see anything on the person. It's just black, and they just keep walking until I can't look very far because my seat and everything's in the road, and I'm like breaking my neck here looking. Not through the mirror, because if you see a scary ass thing walking behind your truck, you don't look through the mirror. You kind of like you look at it, So
Yeah, I
it
get
gets like
that.
out of sight, and they're freaking out in my back seat and kicking my seat and all kinds of crap. I'm like, what the hell is that? Because I thought it was a person, but I can't see anything on it. And as soon as it gets to my toolbox, it kind of just disappears, And so we open the back window and everything. Everybody's like freaking out. We're like, is it in the trunk? Did it like crawl in the bed of my truck? Because that would be weird. And no, but there's nothing there. Everything's gone. So everybody's still freaking out. And the guy who was in the back seat behind me, who was kicking my seat, jumps up in the front where the guy had gotten out, and the guy didn't see it that was in the passenger seat. He was like, "You guys are crazy. There was nobody there." But everybody else in the car saw it and was freaking out. He jumps up in the front, and as I'm pulling away, and he gets his seatbelt stuck in the door. And I open his door to get the seatbelt, and he slams it shut. He's like, "No, don't open my door." And, yeah, so I drove off, and I was like, dang. Obviously, it was a lot more, I don't know, it was bad. We definitely saw it. It was freaky. I was freaked out. I was shaking on the steering wheel. Definitely funky.
So what do you think it was?
I don't know. Definitely was not, it wasn't real.
What?
It definitely wasn't real. I mean, like, it wasn't like a person.
It wasn't a physical thing.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. It disappeared.
He like
Yeah.
phased
And I
into his
couldn't
truck.
see it. It was like black. It was just the outline of a
Yeah.
It was
person.
black.
It wasn't real.
I don't know. It was funky looking.
So now you know to keep a Bible in your truck.
Yeah, and
Just
then I
in
put a
case.
Bible in my truck after that. I was like, that's what I
I
do.
started carrying like a pocket Bible with me everywhere after you told me that, just in case. I have it on me right now.
I have.
Well, yeah, but after I heard this, I told my friend and Hunter, who was on the podcast previously, Rex.
Yeah.
And he, so he goes to church, and he's like, he walks up to the one pastor, and he's like, "So I heard River told me about this thing, blah 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 blah." He's like, "Have you heard about stuff like this before?" And the pastor's like, "Oh, you'd be surprised how many times I've heard about that thing." And I was a bit freaked out by this. The pastor was like, "Oh yeah, it's been seen before where you saw it, like twice. It's been seen, way over in the other area a whole bunch of times. People just see it." And I was just like, and then I told my uncle about it, and then he was like, "It's funny you say that because this guy said he saw the exact same thing you saw, like over in that area." And I was like, there's something definitely going on.
Yeah, the guy, he lived right across the road from there, and I know the guy. He won't walk into those woods anymore after what he saw.
It sounds like we need a Picklebear investigation.
Picklebear Paranormal?
Picklebear Paranormal.
That sounds good to me.
We tried to do something similar. This was before the podcast, I think, though. Just walking around to cemeteries and sites like that.
Mm-hmm. We did. We went on Halloween. We showed up to the one.
That wasn't a
Oh
good.
my god, that was frightening. What happened? You remember that?
Yeah.
We're there, and there's this cemetery up, and it's near this local high school. So we pull up to it, and we are getting ready to jump out. We get out, and we're getting ready to jump out and go to the cemetery, and I'm like, I look ahead, and then there's just some. Ethan,
It looked like just a meth head just staring at us from the cemetery.
It was like a big old person. Like they were fat. I remember him being fat. Don't you?
Yeah,
Where were you
not
guys
super
at?
fat. You were with us.
Where?
No, he wasn't with us. Remember? 'Cause
What?
he was with his girlfriend.
Oh yeah, he was.
Where were you at?
We were at this high school nearby, with a cemetery near.
The cemetery that my mom told us to investigate before.
Yeah. Well,
But we apparently
almost
didn't go on a
ran
good
there.
night.
we show up, and there's a sign that says no loitering, and there's this really big, mean-looking, middle-aged. Was it a dude or a chick? I don't even remember.
I think it was a guy.
Guy just standing there staring
He was
at
clearly
us.
loitering. He didn't see the sign.
It was completely dark out. He was just staring at us, and I'm like, I mean,
Look,
I
he
was
didn't-
driving, so I like pulled up, and we looked, and I like looked at these guys, and I'm like, we're not doing this, and I like turned around and we drove away, because I'm not messing with that. There's no telling where that guy came from, what he was doing, and what he wanted to do.
I don't know. Well, like typically if you're doing that, you would have a light or maybe your phone out. He was just standing there.
Complete darkness.
And this is like behind there's like a shed there too.
Yeah.
So there's no light even leaking over from the parking lot.
No,
It's just pitch black.
And he was just standing there, like, and it wasn't like he was walking and then he like glances over his shoulder. No, he was like shoulder square, just standing there doing a full meme pose. Like, I was so weirded out by it. And then we went to then after that we went to a local ghost hot spot, which like we were there and we were walking around, and our buddy Noah the entire time was freaking out because he was nervous about it. And then, of course, Koner just kind of put on his. Oh yeah, we were all dressed in Halloween costumes too. That's a whole story.
Yeah.
It began at Burger King, and then we made a pickle clean up our. We made a dude dressed as a pickle.
Yeah, there was a guy in a pickle costume. Okay, back up. I was trying to get my phone out of my pocket to show you guys something, and in the process of like lifting from my pocket, I hit the tray which had my drink and everything on it. So I knock all that over. I fall over trying to catch my drink, and then my leg cramps. So I'm just laying on brick at this point, a cramped leg, afraid to move for fear of making my leg cramp worse.
I'm trying to reach down to grab the drink, but I can't because his head is in my lap. And I'm like, as it pours. And none of the other guys at the table even look. They're just like staring
Nobody
at
else reacts.
And then the worst part about it, I'm dressed as a cowboy.
I'm dressed as Travis Bickle.
And
Connor's in like full flectarn with a gas mask.
Full flectarn with a gas mask and a Burger King. And then what was Noah wearing? Was he wearing the mask?
He had a Spider-Man mask on him. I don't think he had it on.
Yeah,
we made his own Spider-Man costume.
I told him not to wear it. I remember that because it's like
I told him to wear it.
It was like a burglar mask. It had the eye holes open. It had just the eye holes, and
they
then
would
it
have
had
seen,
like a
this
mouth
guy's
hole.
Spider-Man. They wouldn't have thought, we're getting robbed. They'd be like, it's Halloween. This kid's dressed as Spider-Man.
Yeah, but then what happens when the Spider-Man pulls a gun? No. But the worst part about it was after it spilled, we were there trying to clean up, so we were like, it was like a bucket brigade. We made a line, and one of us would go over, grab a napkin out of the thing, walk over, and try dappling it
There's
up.
only like one other table in the Burger King at this point, and they're watching us.
It was this old couple staring at us in disgust. And then, like, the girl at the counter, she walks over and she goes, "I'm not cleaning that up." And I'm like,
why wouldn't they clean it up? They work there.
They do. That's how.
We didn't even ask them to. We said, "Hey, just bring out the mop bucket and we'll take care of it."
Yeah,
and then they send out the guy in the pickle costume to clean it up.
I at that point I was like, yeah, I kind of want to see him clean it. I think he was the only one in costume too, and it was Halloween night. It was ridiculous, but
you're allowed to wear a costume to work on Halloween.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. The one guy at my wore a full black trench coat, black leather trench coat, top hat, and steampunk. And like, I work a very physically demanding job, but he's basically wearing a suit. Like working in a distribution center, like picking up boxes and stuff. And I'm like, oh my god! And like these boxes aren't little; they're like 100-pound boxes, and you have to like stack like 100 of them in like an hour.
Yeah, but I can respect his drip.
His drip was phenomenal, but but like seriously, he was the only one dressed up. But it was very interesting. But anyways, that's enough Halloween talk because
you're gonna get spooked.
I'm getting spooked already,
and it's like 5 months late.
It's 5 months post Halloween. I'm scared shitless still. Okay, let's talk about something not so scary. Like AI.
I was gonna. Well, that's kind of scary. But I was gonna go with AI.
You were gonna go with AI?
I was gonna go into the. What was it? Was it Midjourney, or I don't know, some text to image AI. Basically, they put in the opposite of, was it James Dean? I think.
No, it was the dude that played the guy.
Marlon Brando. That's who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he the guy from The Sopranos or The Godfather?
I'm not sure. I think The Godfather.
Yeah.
I don't know actors very well.
I don't
other
either.
than Ryan Gosling, of course.
Ryan Gosling.
Anyways,
treasure.
They put in the opposite of Marlon Brando, and it spits out this like city landscape thing. And then they asked for the opposite of that, and this is like old woman. It's like very unsettling, like uncanny valley type stuff, which is just typical of AI.
Yeah,
naturally. But this was something else.
It's so the uncanny valley in itself is so weird. River,
The what?
Do you know about this stuff?
Hmm.
The uncanny valley is like, have you ever looked at something that isn't human, but it's close enough to human that it makes it creepy?
Like that.
You have to speak into the microphone. You can't nod your
I don't
head.
know. Yeah.
Like that movie I Am Robot. Like those faces.
Mm.
That's a good example.
Yeah, but are they creepy to you guys?
They're kind of like on the edge of it. They're not nearly as bad as some other stuff.
Did the Polar Express creep either of you out?
Hmm.
A lot of people.
really.
A lot of people.
A little bit now that looking back at it. When I was little, no, but now looking back at it, it is.
Really?
Yeah. It's particularly the homeless guy. That was always kind of creepy to
Oh
me.
yeah, they never explained that. It was just some homeless dude that could teleport. He might have
He was
been
supposed to be like a
ghost.
spirit.
Yeah, but they don't know. They never really came out and were like, yeah, he was a spirit.
I don't know. It was pretty clear to me.
They're gonna be like, guys, it was a spirit.
Well, yeah, okay. I get
I am the
they-
CEO of Polar Express. It was a spirit, guys.
But I'm trying to think. There's another. I'm trying to think of other movies like that, but I don't know. Like I like certain movies. Did you ever watch Mars Needs Moms?
I've heard of it. No.
Yeah. So in that movie, right? Like, it gives you Uncanny Valley feels just because of how, like, that certain animation style is just weird. But
Yeah, between like the 90s and 2000s, whenever they were trying to get animation, they tried to make animation lifelike,
yeah,
and then they realized, oh no, we can't do that. So they backpedaled.
But isn't it weird that it like set off something? Like if you try to make something, okay, so you can watch a movie with regular humans in it, and that's fine, right? But you make an animated movie and try to make it as realistic as possible, and it creeps people out. Or like okay, so when it comes to horror movies, the scariest movies are never like these newer ones that like rely on jump scares and CGI. The scariest ones for me were always the 80s and 90s ones that used practical effects.
Practical effects and like tension.
Yes. Like, did you ever watch, I think it's called Virus. Did you ever watch that?
No.
Okay. Okay. Spoiler alert for everybody. So, in the movie, like, it's like this, like, alien AI. It goes back to AI. But they're on this, like, it was in a lightning storm, and somehow it traveled in and entered this ship. And it was able to reproduce itself using, like, the robots and machinery on the ship to, like, make, like, a bunch of robots and stuff. And it used, like, the people on the ship to make, like, cyborgs and stuff. So it's, like, this real, like, gory looking movie. Like, there's, like, machines with red eyes.
Yeah, I
And there's-
remember that movie.
Oh, dude, that
That was I hated that movie. That was too scary.
it freaked me out so bad because like the one character like becomes like the cyborg and like there's like machine parts all through him and like he's more machine than he is man now. So but like his like head is on this like exoskeleton and there's just like blood and like pieces of him throughout it. So he's still kind of human, but like he's mostly machine and like he's like walking in and like
And that was in like the 80s.
It was. I don't know if it was in the 80s or like it was somewhere between the 80s and the 2000s. But if it was the 2000s, it was a low budget one. But it was good. But The Fly. Did you ever watch The Fly? Or The Thing?
I know. I watched. I think I watched The Fly.
You watched The Fly, the 80s
Yeah.
one.
Wasn't there like a black
The
and white
Thing,
one?
You mean?
Yeah, there was a black and
I
white
watched.
one.
Yeah, that's the one I watched.
You said about The Thing?
There's The Thing and then The Fly.
What's The Fly?
The Fly is when the guy puts himself through a teleporter and like he becomes half man, half fly.
Mm.
And like he's like
Okay.
in the 80s ones, he slowly mutates.
The dog was on the cable.
She do be like that though. But in the 80s ones, he slowly like becomes less and less human. It's like body horror. But like you
The-
get
The black and white one wasn't too scary.
no, but
but-
I hear some people freak out about it too. That's the weird.
I think a lot of it is what's like how with video games, like back in 2002, people played Grand Theft Auto and like this is so realistic, the graphics, and now we look back at it, and because we're used to it, we adapted to. I don't know if adapt's the right word, but we get used to the technology.
I remember playing GoldenEye 007 on the Wii, and I thought it was the most realistic looking game. It looked incredible. And then I went back a couple years ago, and I was like, it looks like I'm holding a brick instead of an AK-47. It was just like when you go back, get off your phone. No phones on the podcast unless you're researching. You know the rules.
Okay.
That's the third rule.
There's a third rule of Picklebear podcast. Okay. Where we at?
We're talking about GoldenEye. We got kind of off topic. We started on AI. Now we're at the GoldenEye.
AI. Back to Loeb. Yeah, so they search the opposite, and then Loeb shows up. But the weirdest part of Loeb is when you mix, like, if you so you can.
Did
mix
they
them-
add more to the prompts that got the scarier stuff, or did they just say Loeb?
No, they combined Loeb with previously made photos.
Okay.
So the AI would generate a photo. It was like Hall of Angels, right? And there's this real beautiful like Hall of Angels that you would see for the AI made, and they would add Loeb to it, and then like it turns into dead children all through the place.
Yeah. It basically whenever you add Loeb, it just inverts the picture.
What is lobe?
You didn't.
I'll pull up a picture here quick to show you.
You didn't look at Loeb. We talked about this. I didn't talk about it with you actually, but it's the freaky part is what it like.
Holy shit!
What?
Just the picture.
Well, let me see then. Which one?
Just any of them.
Yeah.
The one that comes up first on the Wikipedia.
An AI made that, and that is supposedly the
I think-
opposite of the opposite.
I think the top one is the original, like the opposite of Marlon Brando.
No, it's not
The
the
opposite of the opposite of Marlon Brando.
Yeah, it's the opposite. That makes no sense because you'd think it would go back to.
So creepy.
Well, they don't know. Because what happened was, it wasn't. It was the landscape had letters in it.
The landscape had letters and that
It was
spelled
like a
out
logo.
the name Loeb.
No,
That's how it got the name.
It didn't spell out Loeb. Well, no, you're skipping here. It got like this logo-looking thing, and the letters said this word. It was like DM, a bunch of different letters, random.
Yeah, because AI isn't good at words and stuff.
Yeah, so she thought the girl that was doing this said, "Oh, well, let's just go and enter those letters in and hit opposite, and we'll see what comes up." So when that happened, Loeb was generated. It's freaky, isn't it?
That's freaky.
But when she's added to other images, she corrupts them. That's the weirdest part.
What do you mean corrupt?
It inverts it, and then, like this one in particular,
Yeah.
it just inverts whatever the original image was conceptually, and it makes it like gory, all the body horror stuff.
Yeah, and like if you were, so here's the thing. If it were to just, so with Loeb, when you add her to the thing, it turns it gory. That's the weirdest part because it's consistent. Like,
Well, it's going to be consistent because as you generate more of those images, those are going to be added to its training sets
yeah, but
as they get posted at least.
but what it's inferring is Loeb had to have existed in that form somewhere already. If the AI
It
made
implies that.
that's what it implies. So where did Loeb come from? Was she just sitting dormant on the internet, like from like a chat board back in the '90s that was forgotten? You know what I mean? Like, because AI
Possibly.
uses the internet to search, and
Yeah, it scrapes pretty much the entire internet. Depending on the model, I think ChatGPT is limited to like 2022 or something,
well,
or 2020.
that's really sad because then you don't get all the cool 2000s black market stuff.
No, it has that. I mean, everything prior to 2022. It doesn't want current stuff.
Oh, okay. But I mean, am I wrong there that like Loeb technically could be from like a deep web, like gore website, pretty much,
It could.
and that's why.
Wait,
it
so you're
already
saying that
existed.
that picture wasn't created by the AI?
No,
it
the
was like
picture
something.
was.
It was, but there has to be something in the training sets that created that, or like
So it had to
led
have
to the
seen
creation
something
of that.
similar.
Yeah.
But what's weird is you can't really trace it. Like, could she potentially ask the AI where it came from? Like,
I don't believe so.
Because it's weird because it's the opposite of an
Well,
opposite.
shouldn't you be able to see what the AI was doing?
No. I think it would be too vast.
It would, because it's essentially going through the whole internet, through all the images that relate to whatever you put in the prompt. And these prompts are like paragraphs long, the good ones at least.
Mm-hmm. This one was a long one. But to change it to opposite, all you do is instead of a +1, it's a -1. That's also weird. How that's set up. I'm not a big computer guy though.
It makes sense.
Oh.
That at least.
But
The
yeah.
people are starting to think that there's some sort of demonic influence. What do you think of that?
It would. So here's the thing: if demons' main goal, right? So like the devil's main goal is to try to get people to go to hell, right? That's the devil's main goal, right? Wouldn't you say?
To separate people from God.
To separate
Sure.
people from God, which would in turn send them to hell. It would make sense that the devil would go and influence as many parts of our lives as possible through like they would use like celebrities, he'd use everything. So it's very understandable that he would try to use the internet, you know?
Yeah.
That's my view on it.
Well, I think pretty much this whole world is, I wouldn't say controlled by the devil, but like definitely more influence.
There's a lot of
There's a lot of influence.
Yeah.
Again, I think that the internet and stuff. Recently I was before I was really black-pilled about it. Lately, I've been reading more into like free and open source software stuff, and that made me a bit more white-pilled about it. Maybe.
You're sounding like Ian.
Yeah, exactly. But no, there's probably still some influence in there. But I think the demonic influence aspect of Loeb is more whatever the original training set goes back to. Could it have been an image on some dark web forum or something like that?
And,
Does the AI comb the dark web? I don't know that answer.
Well, really, like, if a demon can possess a person, and people are some of the most complex things on the planet, what's stopping it from doing an AI?
I think with a person it would. I think that the possession latches onto your soul.
Is it so? If
The
it's
machine
the soul, right? Then
It would have to go through a person to get to the AI, to the AI's training set. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. So
There'd have to be another person in that line somewhere.
well, then all it would take is one person.
Yeah.
If like somebody was influenced to do that, they could easily like go and change an algorithm somewhere.
You don't even have to change an algorithm or any code. You just have to put that image somewhere. In this specific case.
I'll tell you, if like when I open Facebook, all I get anymore are these like are groups of communists and vegans. I swear. I'm not even making that up. Like that's,
anytime I check it, I get like early 2000s like emo rock stuff,
really,
which is like stuff that I listen to.
I get like the opposite of what I am. I'm like I look at this and like the people are just there's a bunch of other people like me on there though. Because like if you open the comments, majority of the people commenting aren't actual communists or vegans. Do you know what they are?
They're people like you that are just raging at it.
Well, I wouldn't even say raging. Like some of them are raging, some of them are trolling, and then a lot of them are like, "Why is this recommended to me? I don't like this at all."
I rarely go on Facebook, but Twitter's similar. But again, that's Twitter.
Yeah, well, Twitter.
So you have a lot of people that are actually like that. But you got to wonder how many of those people are bots. After the whole Elon buying it out thing and like cracking down on bots.
How many? Like, I believe 100% that majority of people are bots. Like, I talked to this guy.
The dead internet theory?
Yeah, I believe that. Like, I was on Instagram and somebody commented on a this post, and like it had to do with like evolution or something, like how like progress. It was like, you're telling me that humans existed for hundreds of thousands of years, and within the last 10,000 years we went from beating things with stones to having a rocket ship take us to the moon. He goes, that sounds weird that like we existed for so long prior without major achievements like that. And I said, I get that. And then they started talking about this guy and like how he had like kooky ideas, and I commented, I said, what do you mean? Why is his ideas considered pseudoscience? Because they didn't actually describe what he said. They were just saying he's kooky.
Yeah.
And the one guy goes, oh, I have to explain to morons like you and all this like stuff. And I'm like, all I did was ask you, what does he believe? Like, what are his ideas? Because, like, I'm interested in hearing, like, why he's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
I-
more interesting to hear why someone's wrong rather than
I didn't.
why they're a bad person.
Yeah, I showed up there. I, like, commented to debate, or not to debate, but to understand what they were saying. So the first one, like, we start, like, commenting, and this guy goes on this, like, rant about, like, he's like, or he said, the main idea is, like, that these ancient civilizations, like, they didn't have the technology to build what they did and do what they did. And I said, well, I kind of agree with that. Like, when you look at, like, different stuff, it's amazing how they built, like, pyramids. They said, like, oh, well, they use, like, sleds to move them up, or they use, like, water to, like, lift the stones up. And, like, they use ducks and stuff. And I said, if that's what they did, that's some of the most complicated stuff I could imagine. I even said, I'm like, with our equipment now, we couldn't lift stones that big and stack a pyramid. Like, it would take so much money and effort.
The explanation that I kind of agree with, if you don't want to go the aliens route, I'm not going the aliens route. What I'm going is, an analogy is, say you're in, like, Hearts of Iron 4. I don't think you've ever played that game.
I haven't, no.
Any game that has a tech tree. Basically, we went along the whatever we would call our industrialization combustion engine tech tree. They went along some other, I don't know, vibration based tech tree.
Yeah, but where'd it go? Like,
I
that's
don't know. We probably wouldn't even recognize the technology because it is outside of our understanding of what technology is.
Did you ever see what's that battery? What's that called?
Battery?
It's dude, you never saw that?
That's a very broad word.
Oh no, it's okay. It's this primitive battery they found that used, like, oh shoot, I can't even remember what it is. But it's the world's first battery they figured out. I'm gonna search that up. Do you have any input on the matter, Mr. River?
Yeah. No.
I don't remember
He's a
what
cat
they
boy.
called it.
What is it?
It's the first battery.
This actually kind of nicely segues into one of the things I had on the list. I won't bring it
You
up
talking
just
about, like, I know a guy who got arrested for batteries. Is that what you're talking about?
yet.
No, these aren't like, I'm seeing, like, 1800s. In
The first
history.
battery is probably like a ice cube tray, Brooke.
No,
1800s. That seems late.
it wasn't the 1800s, but that was, like, the first conventional one.
They were really big.
But there was a primitive battery they found that used, like, I think they said it was copper and some kind of acid put in a clay pot. And they said that would have functioned as a battery.
I might have heard about this before.
I can't remember what it's.
But that brings up the question: what are they using the battery for? Why are they storing energy like that?
Yeah, the Baghdad battery. It's more than 2,000 years old. That's what it's called. So, it was a ceramic pot, a tube of copper, and a rod of iron, and it was discovered in 1936. I'm reading this from Wikipedia. At the time that the object functioned as a galvanic cell, possibly used for electroplating or some kind of electrotherapy. No, but there is no electroplated object known from this period, and the claims are near universally rejected by archaeologists. Explain it, though.
See,
why would they have that? Like, it's
it goes
just
back to what I said. The archaeologists are working within our framework of technology. It could have been for, like, people say vibration-based technology, as in, like, you vibrate something at a frequency. You use this frequency, like a sympathetic. You understand sympathetic frequencies, right? Like, everything has a sympathetic frequency. If you ring out a note, then it'll vibrate with it.
Yeah.
Like, if you play a certain note on your instrument, then the drums on the other side of the room will go.
The idea is
I
that you use that in a mechanical sense, like, and that's how they built the pyramids. That's one of the explanations I've read, at least.
So you're telling me some dude got up there with an electric guitar, hit a low E,
Basically.
and then the rock rose up and set into its place?
Who's the guy that made Mad Max?
I don't know.
I forget his name. Anyways, he was trying to tell us something with that car, the Doofwagon. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was trying to hint at something. He was using the Doofwagon.
The blind dude. I didn't know he was blind till like the end of the movie. It was a good reveal. But yeah, he had no eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you're breaking rule number 3 of the Picklebear podcast again.
Yeah, 1 second.
You're gonna get kicked off the show.
Yeah, that's all I need to do.
We're gonna need a new co-host.
You need a new co-host. He's on his. No, your beatboxing isn't saving you this time. Yeah. Say something. Say something.
Say something.
No, it's copyrighted. No,
It's copyright.
Oh, we can't
no,
say that.
No, you can't sing anything copyrighted on the Picklebear podcast. That's rule number 4.
I didn't know there's so many rules.
I didn't know either.
My head's
Yeah.
getting
It's
tired
pretty
from this
obvious.
helmet.
It's
He
common
was wearing
sense.
a Kevlar helmet this whole time.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so heavy. My head.
Okay,
neck
now
hurts.
that your head is alleviated, and please,
Now you can think
Oh, I
clearly.
cracked. All right, I
now
can
that the
think.
Kevlar is
Now,
not blocking
now all the frequencies are entering my brain and giving me all the good thoughts.
Yeah, but like,
Government funded thoughts.
but back to what he was
Ancient
saying.
technology.
I said, listen, you would think that there would be some kind of evidence or explanation that they left for us to explain why and how they did it. And I'm like, there's all these civilizations all over the world that have pyramids and these structures, and we're just like, oh yeah, it's because it's easy. And
I have another note about
you know what
that.
I think?
what?
Bigfoot made the pyramid.
Interdimensional Bigfoot theory?
No, I have a note about why there are like barely any records.
Just think about it, Brooke. Bigfoot was bigger than a normal person.
What?
What?
Did you hear that phone ring?
I
Yeah,
don't
that
know.
was the TV upstairs.
I hope it was.
You just
Okay.
scared the shit
But
out of me.
What?
You looked at the bottom of the steps where you say you saw that ghost all the time. I was like, what the
No, I did thought I saw something, but I don't think I.
No, what I was saying is why there might not be records.
I mean, you
How
put
do we
LED
store our
lights over there,
information?
so it's less
How-
creepy.
How does our modern civilization store our information?
Books and technology.
No, nowadays we're using
Hard
digital.
drives.
We store data on hard drives, and the such.
Yes.
Hard drives they go bad. Okay, they have like maybe a 2-decade lifespan
Are you
generally.
serious?
Yes.
Why are we doing that? Like, we do have hard copies of all this stuff, right?
Hopefully, you would hope, but that's another thought is like why don't we have records from ancient civilizations that they had not necessarily hard drives but something similar, some sort of digital non-physical means of storing information that we can't understand because it was in another tech tree.
So they're finding all these stupid rocks.
Yeah,
Like, oh, there's just another rock
this
thrown.
is another rock.
Here,
but-
it was like an ancient like tape recorder.
That is
was-
no, that's horrible.
It was lost books of the Bible.
The lost books of the Bible were actually like, if you just ask a rock really nicely, it'll tell you what it saw.
Well, that's like how was it the Aztecs or the Incas? They had like a whole giant city down there, temples and everything. And as soon as the Spanish went there and killed everybody and left, it all just grew up in the jungles. And now people go down there and they're like, oh, it just looks like a normal jungle. But there was like thousands of miles of road going from like one ocean to the other. There's all these massive temples. There's gold and all kinds of stuff. They're just digging out of the ground.
Did you ever hear the lost city
And
of
it
Z?
was they were very advanced, and they just like that. Just because we went over there, they're gone.
Well, not only did they have like the pyramids, their pyramids were different, but they were similar. And you can make the argument that pyramids just an easy structure to build. That's why so many civilizations have pyramids. But they also had the elongated skulls, which existed in I think Turkey, somewhere in Central Europe. They had the
Mhm.
elongated skulls thing going on.
Egypt, they had elongated skulls,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, people will say, oh,
And then-
it's human nature.
It's human nature to want
If
your
it's
skull to be
human
bigger.
nature, then why don't other cultures share that? Why
They
is it
do,
only
to a certain
cul-
extent.
Yeah, but why is it only certain cultures sharing certain things? And it's oddly specific.
Yeah,
things.
like Europeans, we don't have like long skulls. We didn't.
Well,
like,
neither
did
did
we
the-
go through a stage where we were
Actually-
like, let's put bands on your head, bro?
Kind of.
We did.
Yes.
Maybe other people did it then.
Back years and years ago, I don't remember what period, but it was ancient.
We all think the same, Brooke. Maybe someone was like, I wish my head was long, like my wife's boyfriend's.
Like the Habsburgs.
The Habsburgs.
The Habsburgs was like that family in Germany.
Yeah, they were like the family
were all
that owned
inbreeding?
Germany for like a long time.
They inbred to get the largest. No, but it was a sign of like great knowledge and wisdom to have like a large forehead. So it was like all the women wanted large foreheads.
The women.
Well, shit, that did exist in Africa too. Yakub.
Yeah, Africa.
So Yakub is, I don't know if he's like a deity or something, but the idea is that Yakub is, he's portrayed as this like big-headed black man. So
Yeah, that he was
take
like a god.
yeah, take like a gray alien, stereotypical gray alien, but make him look like an 80s disco singer.
Really?
Yeah, basically. At least the paintings or whatever that I've seen.
So there's this.
And then he created white people.
he created white people. His biggest mistake.
Now, wait, are you serious? That's what he's accredited for?
Yes, there's definitely more to it,
So
but
this like dude that's basically Megamind.
yeah,
I saw a
Black
meme about it
Megamind.
where he's like, there's a picture of him sitting there and he points at something. He goes, "F this shit, I'm creating white people." And then it was bad.
Did you ever hear the white? There's like a god of white in Native American culture, or a white god.
God of the White Man.
No, it has nothing to do with white men. It's just god of the white, and the theory is that was like the way they describe it. I don't know enough about it. I got to research it more. But
Did it have something to do with white people?
it has something,
Because I don't even know if Leif Erikson was the first to come to North America. There definitely had to be like some Scandinavians.
Well,
or,
yeah, but the Native Americans were the first. Remember the continental or the
I mean after them, the first white
mid-ocean
people.
ridge, or I mean the mid-ocean land bridge.
The land bridge between Alaska and Siberia.
Yeah,
it's like
Kamchatka or
the supposed
they came over from Siberia.
yeah.
the Dutch Native American tribe. Did you ever hear of them?
No.
Supposedly there was a Dutch, like they were blonde hair, blue eyed, and they were rather short, living in like the Appalachian Mountain region as a tribe.
Just like me.
Yeah, they were pretty much like a bunch of gooses running around, but supposedly they existed, and the natives like, yeah, they just kind of left one day. We don't know what happened to them, and the theory there's a Native American tribe that supposedly they interbred with out like down south more, and they said like, I don't remember why, but like that tribe has something distinct about them that's abnormal, and they think what happened was all the Dutch people that were in the tribe went and bred with the Native Americans.
But how did the Dutch people get there?
They don't know. But
What's like the time frame of this?
I think this is like 14
Okay.
years.
That's about the time that I'm pretty sure there. Well, no, that's when Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
Well,
But even before that, there were definitely Scandinavians in North America interacting with
the Norwegians. Weren't they really boat? They were boaty people. They were boating all over.
Yeah, all the Scandinavians were. But like, I don't know when Leif Erikson came to North America, but I'm pretty sure there would have been some before him.
Maybe they were Welsh.
That's even weirder. Brooke, you got dead air. Brooke, you gotta hurry up.
What?
We got dead air.
What do you, I'm reading. Why aren't you guys carrying it? I'm doing research. Yeah, so apparently, there was a group of mystery Native Americans who appeared to explorers to have European features, including blue eyes and fair hair. So, like, they just were there, and then they were gone. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Native Americans killed them. They were like, "Bro, these Europeans trying to blend in."
Probably.
Get on my
the Native
way,
Americans
fool.
were very gung-ho about killing each other.
They weren't.
They were.
Yeah, they were. They were like, "What are you doing over here? This is our deer." And the guy's like, and then they killed each other.
Yeah, but they just showed up, and like they were like, "Yeah, this tribe is here," and now they're gone, and they're like, there's no evidence of them, but their natives described them all the time, like several different tribes did. So it's like there's probably something to it, because one thing about Native Americans is their storytelling from like generation to generation is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like,
Despite being oral.
their oral traditions are very good. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. And yeah, and then he told me that this guy I was talking with on Instagram, debating about pyramids, he tried to tell me that the reason why South Americans are so much more, or like the South American tribes seem so much more advanced than the North American tribes. Do you know what his argument was?
What?
It was harder living down there. So
yeah, they had to adapt. I don't know about that.
no,
Wait,
it
wait, how
wouldn't
did
be
they even
harder
get to
living
South
down
Amer-
there.
How did they get to South America? Because
I don't think that-
because they're more built up down there. How they had to have gotten to South America before they got. They couldn't have come down through Alaska.
That's what I was saying. I said it doesn't
Wasn't
make
there
sense.
supposed to be another land bridge down there in South America?
Well, no, there
Like
wasn't.
to Africa.
No, not
Supposedly they were the same part of Pangea. That's like the whole thing. Like, oh, yo, South America, Africa, they like line up like a
Yeah.
jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
You think they were just connected for that long, and then all the smart people in Africa like went over to South America, and then
My
because it was
God.
Africa
The people
wasn't
that weren't
built up.
as black. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, Africa
Well,
wasn't
no.
as built up, was it? As South America. Out South America, the tribes were like really smart.
Well-
They even had like socialist stuff going on.
What's smart about socialism?
No, I mean like the guy was
Well, I
like,
mean-
bro, your tax. They didn't pay in money for like their taxes. The government just like,
We
Okay,
demand
bro,
a chicken a month.
bruh, it's your month to go build the roads. And the guy was like, oh, I guess I better build the roads. And he was like, no, instead of build the roads, maybe I'll just go like march around with a spear in the army for a month instead. And then he would go do that. Or he'd be like, yeah, maybe I'll go work for my emperor dude for a month. Or maybe I'll go pick llamas for a month. Or
Listen,
something for
I'm
the
trying
government,
to make a
Brooke.
point here, but
They would once the
But
the
the
emperor
South-
person would die, Brooke. They would mummify them where they would like a crispy chicken tender, like they would look like that pretty much. I don't know how else to describe it. And they would still walk them around like they were still alive. They would
I
have
think
go meet.
that's in
they
South
would-
America, isn't it?
Yeah, South America.
Oh,
They would have
yeah.
meetings with their family members and stuff. They would just be like a dead guy just laying there. And then once everybody was dead, they like
They'd walk them.
they'd still treat them like they were alive. They'd be like, "Oh, it's your turn to go for a walk in the park." And
I
they
heard
walk
that the
this
bodies
dead
would
dude.
walk on their own.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bodies get up on their own. They're not walking them. The bodies are walking themselves.
But they're dead.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I don't know. I wanted to watch like videos of it, but nobody's ever showed a video of it.
Because that's like the ancient civilization thing.
Yeah, they don't want.
Is that connected to the voodoo stuff?
I bet it is. You don't mess with voodoo. Don't mess with
Or no,
anything.
the voodoos.
Like that.
There are different kinds of zombies in different cultures. Like you have the.
No, I was thinking they like carrying him around on this big the the four people hold up like the mattress thingy and you sit on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
They,
pulling him
like, pick
around
up
on
every
that.
couple of
They were
years.
like, I'm going to. It's time for him to go visit his brother, and then they would both meet up at some restaurant, but they're like dead. You know, kind of creepy.
So there's like 300 dead bodies in this restaurant. Nobody orders a thing.
Bro, this place is going downhill.
This
So
place is
dusty.
dead.
It's dead tonight, guys. Can't stay in business like this.
Jeez.
Oh, did you hear that?
But
Dead air.
dead air. Holy shit.
Okay, what other topics do we have?
I'm about to blow.
The one that I was saying we could kind of segue that into was the reshot structure,
What's the
which goes into what I was saying about how you said Africa wasn't as like built up as South America.
No, I was
This is-
saying North America and South America.
He said Africa.
Oh.
Africa.
Yeah, but anyways, this is
What was that
the
called?
reshot structure is what people are speculating that Atlantis could have been.
Where's it at?
It's in like northwestern Africa.
Wait, are you talking about that pyramid under the ocean?
No,
There's one of
It's-
those in like
the
South
reshot
America,
structure.
though.
They described Atlantis as like a ringed city. So there's rings of land followed by a ring of water, land, water, and it continues. And you'd understand like how difficult that would be to build. So they figure it's a natural formation, or at least like it goes back to the what was I saying? Vibrational technologies, just something that we can't comprehend. They found a structure like that in Africa, the reshot structure, and there's a bunch of stuff lining up that like who was it, Plato, who described where Atlantis was. That
Play-Doh.
yeah, we could have just misunderstood where, where he said the directions. Maybe it wasn't just out in Atlantis. It would have been down into basically where Africa is.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, our maps back then are much different.
Yeah,
What year was Plato alive?
I won't even know.
Like it was like.
Wait, so this Atlantis was
1400s.
actually described by some dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
that's
is the
like
myth.
most
a
of
lot
our
A lot of people described Atlantis.
No, some dude was like, "Bro, there's a big city."
yeah Plato. Yeah, that's like where most of our ideas of Atlantis come from.
They
But-
were an advanced civilization.
Yeah, and they say that it got washed away by. People say it got sucked into the ocean, or that it just got washed away by water. That well, at least what's his name?
Wasn't
Bright
there like
Insight
this,
is a YouTube
wasn't
channel.
there like an island off the coast of Italy that had a volcano on it? The people they were released
There's a
for,
lot of
and then
stuff
they
like
blew
that.
up, and then it like pretty much the
Pompeii.
ocean ate it. Pompeii, yeah.
Yeah, that did happen.
But that happens a lot, like even the Pacific.
Imagine being such an idiot that you build your city under a giant
Well,
volcano.
you didn't know it was a volcano. You just like look at that mountain, bro. It's like one of those volcanoes that you don't have the big iconic volcano hole in the top. It just looks like a hill, bro. You're like, this is a pretty nice hill, and all of a sudden one day it pops like a pimple and just the entire top shoots off.
I think Vesuvius. They knew it was something up with it.
Like, every once in a while, smoke flies from that mountain. I wonder what's going on up there.
Well, no, they would think it's
I think
just
those ones are like closed off though. Don't they just build pressure? They keep building. And it's like a bottle. Eventually, just go.
I know, like
That's
the
what makes those
mummified
ones so
people in
dangerous. Because when
ash.
they blow up, they like let everything out.
the reshot structure. Instead of being sucked into the Atlantic, it got washed away by just water. And there was evidence, a flood. And there is evidence of a flood in that area of Africa.
So when
and
would Atlantis have been active?
Like existed.
Yeah,
I don't know the years.
like
But
people
definitely
living, like
Around Plato's time, at least.
so.
I'll have to send you a link. Bright Insight is the YouTube channel that goes over this.
That's crazy. Like the fact that he would describe Atlantis and be like, "Yeah, guys, I'm totally not lying."
Well, that's what people will say, that like, oh, maybe he was just trying to make a moral point, like that it wasn't a real place. He was just trying to. It was a fable.
He's like right.
Or something
yeah,
like
he's
that.
writing a fable. I don't know. There's like a pyramid off
But
the
he-
coast of like South America though, in the Pacific. That sounds like, isn't it? It's down in that trench though. There's a pyramid.
Mariana's Trench.
No, I don't know the trench like.
I think he was
I don't think
BC.
There's the mountain range
Yeah,
with all
probably.
the alpacas, and then there's like the big hole in front of it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm so tired, I can't think. But there's a mountain range with the alpacas.
Doesn't tell you anything.
What?
Okay. They don't even know what year he died.
Was Plato even real?
They said it was either 1428 slash, or not 428 slash 427 BC or 424 to 423 BC. And he died in 348 to 347 BC at the age of 80. They lived to 80 years old back then.
Yeah.
Even then, like people are like, "Oh, you died when you were 30." Yeah, no.
No, it was mostly infant mortality bringing that down.
Imagine
And then,
that.
of course, military deaths, or if you'd even call that military, people just killing each other when they're like 20s.
Yeah. It's like there's disease going around, but like people still live.
No, you weren't. It wasn't like you were just incapable of living to 80.
Yeah, like you could do it, but like I don't know. There's a
But, like, what was
stereotype
the
that, like, you
point?
died at like the age of like 30 often.
Like that book we're reading, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. She died at 31.
How?
She got like sick and died right after she wrote her book. She was like, "I'm such a good book," or people were like, "Dang, you're such a good book writer." After she
Write
wrote this
another.
book, and they're like, "You should write another one." She's like, "Yeah, dies."
So are you an Atlantis believer now?
Maybe.
Did
I
you
don't
ever-
know. It's definitely more convincing than. There was some really. It's more convincing than it just being like a moral story. I was gonna say there was some really kooky theory about Atlantis.
What
I
was
can't even remember what it was. I just dismissed
Atlantis was a spaceship and it flew off.
it. Probably something like that.
That-
You know,
that's
it's something so
plausible.
dumb that I don't even listen to it.
Well, like really, imagine. Well, they said they were so advanced. What's stopping them from flying the city onto Mars or Venus? And then they were so
What would be the
advanced.
point though? Why wouldn't they just fly it on the dry land?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
We're about to be flooded. Let's just fly onto. Let's just relocate the city.
They flew it into space, landed on Venus, and then they started polluting Venus. And Venus, like the greenhouse effect, hit really fast, and it killed them.
And that's
they
why
just
Venus
did the
is the way it
greenhouse
is.
effect to
Yeah.
like cover it up so we wouldn't know they're there.
Well, we landed, or the Russians landed a spacecraft on
Yeah,
Venus.
but it like melted within 5 minutes, didn't it?
That's the story.
They were just like, yeah, we landed it, and they were like, how long?
Okay.
I don't know how
It was like-
trustworthy the Soviet cosmonauts were.
Really, if you were going to land a shuttle on another planet and you saw some cool stuff, would you release every photo? Or would you keep them and be like, yeah, the spacecraft, it melted as soon as it touched
Yeah,
down?
well, especially a government like the Soviets.
Yeah.
I don't think you can really trust anything from the Soviet archives. Like a lot of the ideas of the T-34 tank being like, oh, the greatest tank of World War II. It was incredible. It was so rugged. And people say, oh, it only failed as a tank because of it only failed because we didn't have the industrial capacity to keep it up. It just wasn't a great design. I could go into it.
The transmission couldn't get out of like
No.
what, third gear. Like once you,
It had a 4-speed. It couldn't get out of third or second.
yeah, it could only do like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. But a lot of our conceptions of the T-34 come from Soviet sources.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it's going to be propaganda.
Yeah, and it had like the worst like death rate. Like if you got hit in that tank, you're dead.
That's another argument. They're like, well, it wasn't supposed to be a good tank by itself. It's supposed to be a human wave argument. It was a shitty tank by design. Trust me.
Like, come on, guys! It's the Soviet army. Like they wouldn't even give some guys guns. They'd just be like, yeah, when that guy dies, you take that gun and you start shooting. Then
No, what they would do is it was like, first man gets a rifle, next man gets ammo, and they're supposed to stay together.
mm-hmm.
And they just continue down that line.
Oh yeah, did you ever watch Enemy at the Gates?
I've just watched parts of it. No, not the whole thing.
That like first scene where like they're Russian. They're Russian.
They're Russians.
They're Russian, the Germans, and like some of the guy's like trying to find a gun, and he ends up never finding a gun, and he's just kind of like hiding there in the bodies, and it's cool. But going back with Venus, isn't it weird how we never ever the Russians landed a spacecraft there, and then we don't bother. We're like, yeah, Mars. Let's go and do Mars. It's always Mars. But, like, we always ignore Venus. I think we're closer to Venus than we are Mars.
What?
I think just because
Yeah.
that's the one that's real hot, right? I might just make sure I don't mix up.
Yeah. Venus is the, it has, like,
Yeah,
acid.
they said it
Yeah.
could have been like an
Rain.
Earth, but it like, I don't know, it got
Yeah,
hot.
they said.
It was
yeah.
too close to the sun.
What year did we land there?
Got spicy.
Okay, so in the winter, the Earth is actually closer to the sun. What's up with that?
Yeah, it's because of the angle.
Okay.
It's weird, isn't it? I don't know.
I'm not an astrophysicist.
Yep, right here. This is what the surface of Venus looks like, supposedly.
Allegedly, if Venus is real.
No, it's real. I don't know what's up there, though.
Let me see.
But, like, come
So
on.
that's a 40-year-old picture?
It's a 40-year-old picture. It looks amazing. That's what the Russians got.
Hmm.
But, like, we got this picture. And
Yeah, why wouldn't America even send something?
that's what I mean. Oh, what's this? Here's a June 11th, 2022 article. How NASA's Venus probe will survive hell and make unprecedented discoveries.
So they are sending one.
I don't know. Are we,
No, I'm not a flat earther or anything, but I think a lot of the stuff we're told about space is propaganda.
well, how do we know about this stuff? Like Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's like, well, I know this and this and this and this. It's like, have you been there? No, you're watching
No.
it through a damn telescope, and you're like, yeah, well, it's like, yeah, we're watching this. You can't test that. Like all this stuff. You get what I mean?
I mean, they are testing it to a certain degree.
Yeah, but they're watching
There's
it through a
there's just a
telescope.
lot of
What's
there's
that?
just a lot of room for error with the ways that we are observing it.
Yeah, but we're like, yeah, this is 100% how it is, you know? And, like, if you deny, like, what we're saying, then you're just a flat earther, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that flat earth is right. I'm saying it's hard to tell what we're looking at. Because, like, then they're like, well, the universe is constantly expanding, right? And that's the only explanation.
Even that, I don't know if that's a good explanation. Because the idea behind that is that, okay, so you have the Big Bang. We talked about this before. You have the Big Bang, and then eventually everything has to come back because gravity never stops acting on what's out here. So eventually it's going to have to contract.
Oh my God!
So are we on the contraction
What?
phase?
NASA's planning on sending a probe in 2031. I have to wait that long for us to get another picture of the surface of Venus?
America probably won't even be a country by then.
Dude, if I was elected president, the first thing I'd do is send a probe to Venus. Because I'd be like, we're gonna check
That's
this-
what you're going to run on. We're going to make Venus great again.
Make Venus great again. I want to know stuff about Venus. It's such a weird planet. It's on fire.
It's on fire.
The whole
But
planet's
pretty
pretty
much-
much a ball of fire.
Yeah, pretty much any planet would be interesting because like it's just a different perception. It goes against our conception of what a planet is
No, but we just keep going back to Mars. And,
because
Mars-
it's similar.
It's a boring planet.
I don't know. I believe that there's definitely life on it, or it could be still.
It's boring, though. Like, really. Like, okay. Out of the 9 planets in our solar system, or 8. Is it 8 now, or is it 9?
I think we're down to 8. I don't think Pluto's considered a planet
Yeah,
anymore.
out of the 8 planets in our solar system, if you were going to land a probe on any of them to look around, which one would you choose?
Venus, or is Jupiter an option?
Yeah, you can do Jupiter.
You need like
I
a.
don't think you can land on Jupiter.
You can't.
though.
It's a.
It's a gas.
supposedly.
It's a glitch in the matrix.
No, it's a gas giant.
One of them has like a
But, like-
really small core that's like rock, and then it's like tons of gas.
Is that Jupiter?
One of the gas giants does.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
rain.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, how are the gas? Is it just like a really dense gas at the bottom?
Yeah,
Or
usually.
is it?
And it makes a
One of them
gravitational
has like a
Yeah.
rock. I'm pretty sure.
Well, that's like the rings. I don't think they know how the rings work exactly. Because what's the difference between the rings and a moon? You get what I mean?
The rings
Yeah.
around it. Isn't
Saturn.
It an asteroid, like an asteroid
I think
rings?
all the gas giants have rings.
No,
It's just
just-
Saturns are really big.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Saturn has. I'm
Uranus
pretty sure. Aren't they
is-
like frozen, like gas?
I don't know.
It's like it pulls gas in because it's so big and it freezes or something. I don't know. I forget. We should learn this in elementary.
Dude,
I think we did.
we did, but we don't learn enough about the planets. We learn about everything except for, like, I remember in school, my favorite part of school was learning about the planets. And do you know what the last thing we learned about in the school year was?
What?
The planets. So we only got like a solid half a week, like 3 days of science period in elementary school. And then after that, we didn't learn anything. Like, I don't remember learning about the planets in high school, middle school. Like, I don't remember that. We learned about Pangea in 8th grade. In 6th grade, we did geology, and I thought that was really interesting stuff. Like, I love that stuff. I want to be a geologist after that. You know that?
Yeah.
I love rocks. They're so cool. Like, I was at this flower shop getting flowers.
You went to the flower shop for rocks.
No, I was there, and I was ordering flowers for my girlfriend, and then I asked the lady a question. She's like, "I'll go check on that." So she like walks back into the room, and I'm like, "Oh," I like was looking around, and like, so the counter was high. Like, I'd say it was like almost to my chest high.
Okay. So like my shoulders.
Yeah, yeah. So it was about shoulder high for most people. So like I'm there and like I walk around and on the other side of the counter, like underneath, there's this like big cabinet full of like quartz and all these cool rocks, and I was like, whoa.
Wait, behind the counter? You went behind the counter?
No, below the counter.
Okay.
It was showing. It was the front.
You went behind the counter to look at the rocks?
No, I was in front of the counter, but it was below the counter that the rocks were at.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm there looking, and I'm like, wow. Like, there's quartz balls, quartz rings, all kinds of different stuff, marble. And I was like, wow, look at all these rocks. And then the lady comes out, and she's like, sir? And, like, I, like, spring up, and I'm like, I'm here. And I didn't want to scare her, but I totally scared the crap out of her.
Huh? What's that?
Oh my god. We forgot the rabbit
We
outside.
better end the podcast.
Oh my god. Pause it.
Holy
Pause
shit.
the podcast.
Okay, we had a bit of an interruption. The rabbit escaped. We had to go hunt it down. We lost River in the process.
Skinwalker was outside, got him. So, who's the guy from the Discord? Who's the dude from the Discord that was asking you if you ever encountered a Skinwalker?
I don't know. I get asked that a lot.
Yeah.
We got ice cream, so
We're
I don't
gonna.
know. we gotta try to end this. We got a little over an hour. It's not the big extravagant.
What? Just over an hour?
Yeah, 110.
It's not 110 minutes.
No.
That's ridiculous. We've been at it for so long, though. It feels like.
Yeah.
Dang.
It feels faster when we have more people.
I guess so. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll wrap it up. Good deal. I'm enjoying this Kit Kat ice cream. It's so good.
You know how we would enjoy it more
Wow.
is if we were in Tim's coffee house eating ice cream.
For the love of God,
Tim.
Tim, please let us on the podcast. I will. You know what? If you had a child, I would raise it for you if you asked me to.
I think Tim would do just fine raising his own child.
I know, but if he asked me to,
Why would he
I mean-
ask you to? To be the
'Cause I'd be-
godfather?
I feel like I'd be his top guy. I'm Tim Pool's top guy. I have to do it.
Whoa, Tim Pool wants me to lead the revolution.
He wants me to lead the Freedom Faction in the Civil War. I have to do it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to go, and Ian's Crystal Cove, I want to be there. I want to drink a coffee there. I want to sit
Is that
there.
what he's calling it?
Not the coffee. No,
Oh, okay.
there's a section of it
Oh.
called that. I want to sit there. I'm a member. I'm a member. I'm a member now.
Can you get me in as a member?
How? No, I can't.
I don't know. They don't do plus ones?
No, they don't do
That's
plus
horrible.
ones. Well, if they have a plus one at an event, I will definitely bring you. But I'm a member. That's all that matters. And now I'm in the Discord, and the Discord's rocking. Did I tell you about that?
Not really.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't elaborate.
I'm in the Discord. It's on fire right now. A lot of people are saying a lot of weird stuff. The stuff that like Discord might ban you for. So it might get banned soon. But yeah.
Possibly. They should have gone on Matrix. I think Tim even said that at one point. But it's just more of a hassle than Discord.
Yeah, that's the truth.
We're currently trying to get our people over onto Matrix. Not too successful with that, though.
Should we put the Discord's link?
I don't think we should.
We'll make a separate Discord.
Yeah.
With a Picklebear Discord.
Pickle cord.
Picklebear Discord server. Actually, I'm gonna do that tonight. We're gonna make the Picklebear podcast Discord official Discord. We'll post it in the link of this video.
I think we should hold off on that.
Oh, should we? Okay, that's fine.
I think we should plan it out more.
Yeah, we need to do more planning. We're not gonna just roll it out and be like,
With
yeah.
25 subscribers.
Yeah, but we need to do it. That'll grow us.
I think if we do something like that, it should be Matrix or like some sort of free protocol, rather than a centralized thing like Discord.
Tim talked to the Rumble guys about that.
I don't know. I'm not positive. I'm not as optimistic about Rumble as I was, because it's still closed source, like all proprietary backend.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I'm kind of doomer about this stuff sometimes.
Just install Brave, like I've been telling you. It'll change your life for the better.
I need to do that. I was using DuckDuckGo, and then they turned. Most devastating betrayal of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't too surprised, because like even Mozilla was always pretty, well, not always, but they became pretty pro-censorship.
Yeah.
That's why I don't recommend Firefox to people anymore.
So you recommend Brave browser?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Install Linux.
What's that thing on your sweatshirt?
This is Tux. This is like the Linux mascot. We didn't mention it this whole time.
Free the code.
But yeah, free the code.
Oh my God, we need to get on Timcast so bad. Tim, please let us on the show. What we need to do is get somebody to super chat and be like, "Hey, these guys."
You're just gonna do that, like under a different. Don't even use a different name. It's like, oh, Brooke. Brooke says, "Hey, I heard about this podcast called the Picklebear Podcast."
It's incredible. You should get those guys on right now, like next week, even. Like, you know what? Just call them whenever. Yeah, they'll go.
They live within like 3 hours of you. They can just show up.
Just show up. Yeah, I know exactly where he lives now. Well, not exactly.
Not exactly.
Not exactly, but I know like the area,
like the Harper's Ferry area.
Yeah, well, like at first, he mentioned
we're not doxing Tim.
We're not doxing him. He's been open with it, but at first when he mentioned it, I was like, oh, "What?"
No, he said. I think it was on IRL. He said, "Yeah, we were hanging out in Altoona," and I immediately like slammed my desk. I was like, "Brooke, you're hearing this, right?"
We know you. We got his location, boys.
Just imagine you're in Altoona one day, just you're going to your shop, your hobby shop, to get tank models. Then you see Tim Pool, and he asks you. He says, "Are you Brooke, host of Picklebear Podcast? Are you here to buy more tank models? What tank models do you recommend? Do you recommend Tamiya?"
I would. I don't know what I would do. I would. If like that's the thing. Like everybody's always like he's always like, yeah, I saw somebody and they're like came up to me and like, hey, you're Tim Pool, and he's like, oh yeah, I am, and he goes, they're like, yeah, we watch your show, that's so cool. But like I would be like, like I would go full spaz. I would spaz out right there. I'd freak out. I don't know what I would do. It wouldn't be violent.
Hopefully.
No, but I'd be like, wow, that's Tim Pool. That's like my hero. He's so cool. You know that?
Yeah. I had a similar experience at Doomerfest, seeing all these internet people like Egg White and Jezebel.
Mm-hmm.
And just all these people. It's like, wow, they're real people. Like I could reach out and touch them, but I'm not going to do that. I shouldn't.
But I could.
I could. Like no, I think that's part of just being from where we come from. We're pretty isolated here.
Yeah. The most famous guy in the area is just some dude that got known for like screaming. But that's like the most generic thing. You didn't hear about that?
No.
I don't want to say exactly what he would scream, but like he would yell a certain like nonsense word at certain sports games, and like he gained notoriety when the referees ended up like kicking him out. And then, like, as he was leaving, he kept yelling it. Now, and like, he was in the newspaper a day, and it was like this big thing.
Oh. No, I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Well,
I don't know if I should mention the guy though.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. There was what's his name? DC Cooper, singer from some Danish metal band. He was some metal singer from like the 90s and 2000s. He walked into an undisclosed restaurant, okay, and he looked at the Cyber Cowboy CD, an album produced by me featuring Brooke and River.
That's crazy.
And he said that's cool. I don't know if he bought one though.
Yeah, but he said it's cool. What does
he said
that
it's
mean?
cool, and he left an improvised business card.
What does that even mean? Did you call him?
No. It was just like his name and then a list of projects, like bands.
What? That's all he sends? He doesn't like give you any contact info?
Well, why would he?
He says that's cool and gives you a business card.
A piece of paper with like his name and shit scribbled on. Business card might not have been the best word to describe it.
Like he gives us his address and he's like, meet us here.
Meet me here at this time. Be there or be square.
Would you go?
If it was within like a half-hour drive, sure.
Well, obviously.
Yeah,
but, like,
I don't know. Maybe he was just passing through.
But yeah, but like, what if you could have been his top guy?
I'm DC Cooper's top guy. DC Cooper, if you're hearing this, because clearly you're like following me somehow.
I don't know how you found this podcast, but
I don't know how you found this podcast. I don't know how you found my album. I don't think you even listened to it.
Did you buy one?
I don't know.
I hammered
'Cause
that
I
ice
wasn't
cream.
there. You did. Mine's still mostly here. 'Cause
Oh
I'm
my
trying to
god,
talk.
that's such good ice cream, isn't it?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's
It's ice cream.
double chocolate fudge. It has like chewy pieces of fudge in it. It makes it so good.
What has this descended into?
Chaos.
A fudge review.
Fudge. Oh my god. Okay, we need to wrap things up. I have my vintage Soviet night vision goggles beside me.
He had them on for a while.
Yeah, they got kind of tired. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. But
Yeah,
like,
we typically wear interesting headwear, except for me, because I have to wear the headset.
yes, but we will find a set of. Once we find a vintage Soviet tanker.
Helmet.
Yeah, with
I need a helmet, and I need the uniform that I can cut the legs off of.
I have a uniform.
The Soviet one?
Yeah, it's the fireproof one. It's the rare version.
Incredible. Well, we're not going to cut the legs off of that.
No, we can't do that. It's like the incredibly rare version. I didn't even know it was rare. It was like it was online. I was like, oh, okay. It was like my size, and I think that my surplus lady. So I have two surplus people. One is from Ukraine, and the other one is from I think it's Belarus.
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 Yeah.
So the Belarus lady is the most delightful lady I've ever dealt with on eBay. She sent it to me, and she sent me a little gift, which is like this communist pen. And I was like, wow, that's cool. But the Ukrainian guy, I will say, he has fought long and hard against the Ukrainian government in order to provide me with these night vision goggles. Because what happened was they were intercepted. Like, the Ukrainian government intercepted a package because it was night vision goggles, and they stole them. Like, they were just, like, kept them, and then, like...
Because they could use them, even though they have to be connected to, like, an old-ass tank.
Well, yeah, but, like, I was reading, like, the shipping updates, and I was, like... I like, messaged a guy, and I'm like, hey, I've been waiting since, like, December, and, like, this is going on February, and I'm like, it hasn't left Kiev yet. And he's like, huh, well, I'll check on that for you. So this man goes to an active war zone to the postal office and checks in on my night vision goggles. And he's like, he gets back to me. He's like, yeah, my government intercepted them, and they're sending them to a lab to test them. And I'm like, what do you mean test them? And he goes, I don't know. They're just testing them. So they're gone for another 2 weeks. And he's like, hey, or I message him and I'm like, hey, what happened? And he goes, well, they're keeping them. I don't know. I'll send you like something in return. What do you want? And I'm like, well, okay, send me like a regular tanker cap and some cool stuff. I guess that'll make it worth it for me. Just like a couple knickknacks, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just cool stuff from the Soviet era. That's cool collectible stuff. They had little rocket ship lamps. It was like a clear rocket, and like it lit up.
Mm-hmm.
It was so cool looking. It was like I'd like one of those. That'd be cool for like the modeling table.
Yeah.
But I was there, and then, he goes, okay, and then like he gets back to me like I message him and I'm like, so are you sending those or no? And he goes, hey, they sent the goggles back. I'm gonna try sending them through the UPS. Next week they were here. They traveled from a country in like major conflict to me in a week.
That's better than anything I've had shipped international.
I
have a bunch of packages shipping up from Mexico that I'm still waiting on from like December.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Like, what kind of packages are you ordering?
There's like cassette tapes. I
Oh.
like rare cassettes.
Yeah, but like, it was like it just shipped, and I was like, oh. Like I was reading the updates, and it didn't do anything for a while, and then next thing I know, it's in Germany, and then it gets sent to the coast. It was like in New Jersey, and I was like, oh, it's showing up. And then like it hit New Jersey,
Yeah.
and then like it was like it said estimated delivery tomorrow, and I was like, oh.
Now just wait. Zelensky himself will like personally come here.
He's gonna hunt
Say,
me
I
down.
need those goggles back.
Give me those now. He like, they were like, there's like an experimental pair, and like, they mixed them up at the lab, and he's like, Give me those goggles. I thought of a movie where, like, this guy's, like, just trying to chill, and then he orders a set of night vision goggles off of eBay, and then the government takes them from him, and it's just him fighting through the government trying to find the night vision goggles.
This is just your fantasy.
This is my fantasy about what would happen.
This is just your self-insert film.
Yeah. Yeah, do you have a problem with that? It's like
No, not really.
some dude driving a cool 80s muscle car fighting. Do you ever? Yeah. Okay. Now, we gotta end this. Okay. This is good. This is crazy. We gotta end this.
This was not the big extravagant return.
This is pretty extravagant. We're eating ice cream. A rabbit went missing. We talked about Atlantis. What isn't extravagant about it?
I don't know.
Or it's good. I'm happy and content with it.
We'll try to get back to it. I'm gonna hopefully be starting like a normal job coming May. Normal being like consistent schedule.
That would be great, because I am not. Well, I am. Not really.
Later, maybe.
Later, yes. But in the meantime, I will be still collecting vintage Russian military surplus night vision goggles and stuff like the sort. Make sure to like and subscribe this podcast, everybody.
Make sure you copy the RSS feed into whatever RSS feed reader of your choice.
Yes, do that. I have no idea what that is, but do that.
Yeah, don't worry about it. This is for them. This isn't for you.
Okay. And share this with your friends. Unless your friends are Antifa, then don't share it with your friends.
Unless your friends are like pro-Ukrainian.
Pro-Ukrainian, because they hear me like.
Yeah, we're gonna have everyone hunting you down.
Give
Give those goggles back.
What if
Zelensky needs them.
What if we end up red pilling people on Ukraine?
On Ukraine just because of the goggles?
They're like, oh, they intercepted tank goggles?
Well, that's what you said. If I didn't hate Ukraine before, I sure hate them now.
Yeah, I do. Imagine, they took everything from me. Do you realize how much I've wanted these things? Like, they're so cool. They're PNV 57As. They're incredible. I'm going to wear them every day now for the rest of my life.
Walk into your warehouse job. Sir, it's a helmet. I need it.
Yeah, and when the power goes out, you know who's going to be laughing?
I mean,
Me.
not you, because it just has a dangling cord.
Yeah, it doesn't work yet. I have to hook a battery to it. But eventually it will work. Okay, guys. Like and subscribe. Follow us on Rumble and YouTube and Spotify.
And stuff. Whatever we're on, I forget.
Yeah, we're on all kinds of stuff. And share the good word with your friends. Have a good one, guys. And Tim, for the love of God, let us on your show.
Let us on the
returned.
podcast.
Yeah. Do your best begging.
Please, sir.
That'll do.
I was going to do puppy eyes, but I realized that doesn't translate through
Puppy eyes in the
microphone.
mic.
All right, that's it. Goodbye.